Gorgon vs. Yeti. Clash of mythical titans in the snowy peaks. High above the world, where the earth touches the heavens, the snowy peaks stand as silent sentinels. These majestic montane landscapes, draped in eternal snow and ice, have witnessed the birth of myths and the passage of eons. Among these treacherous altitudes, where oxygen thins and only the hardiest survive, legends come alive. Imagine, if you will, a crossroads of mythology, an intersection where the ancient Hellenic lore meets the enigmatic tales of the Himalayas. Today, we delve deep into an extraordinary confrontation. The Gorgon, a creature of Greek myth with a gaze that can petrify the soul, versus the Yeti, the abominable snowman of Himalayan legend, whose sheer physical prowess is the stuff of mountaineers' nightmares. What transpires when these two behemoths collide in the isolated reaches of the world's most formidable peaks? The legends unveiled. To comprehend the magnitude of this encounter, we must first unravel the intricate tapestries from which these creatures emerge. The Gorgon of Greek mythology. The Gorgons, Steno, Euryale, and the mortal Medusa, are among the most formidable figures in Greek mythology. Originating around the 8th century BCE, these sisters were born of the primordial sea deities Phorcys and Ceto, embodying the ancient Greeks' fear of the unknown terrors of the sea and the night. The term, Gorgon, itself derives from the ancient Greek word, gorgos, meaning dreadful. Physically, Gorgons were depicted with bronze-scaled skin, luminous eyes, and hair comprised of venomous serpents, a symbolic amalgamation of beauty and horror. The bronze claws and golden wings attributed to them in literature like Hesiod's Theogony, and later in Ovid's Metamorphoses, underline their otherworldly nature. Medusa, the most renowned of the trio, was the only mortal Gorgon. According to myth, she was once a ravishing maiden whose beauty enamored Poseidon. Their union in Athena's temple incurred the goddess's wrath, leading to Medusa's transformation into a monstrosity whose gaze could transmute flesh to stone. The petrifying gaze serves as an allegory for the paralyzing effect of fear and the inescapable nature of fate, a prevalent theme in Greek thought. This power operates instantaneously upon direct eye contact, a metaphysical process that defies the natural laws as understood by ancient scholars. The Yeti of Himalayan mythology. Rooted in pre-Buddhist animistic traditions of the Lepcha people, the Yeti is often regarded as a guardian of the mountains, a spiritual entity rather than a mere beast. Described typically as a bipedal creature standing over 2.5 meters tall and weighing upwards of 200 kilograms, the Yeti is covered in dense, shaggy fur. Its enormous feet, leaving behind footprints measuring up to 33 centimeters in length, have been a subject of intrigue and study, with numerous documented sightings and footprint casts collected during the 20th century, notably by explorers like Eric Shipton in 1951. Culturally, the Yeti represents the wild, untamed aspects of nature, a physical embodiment of the mountain's dangers and sanctity. Sherpa communities often revere the Yeti, weaving tales that emphasize respect for the environment and warning against hubris. Modern interpretations have oscillated between viewing the Yeti as a relic hominid species and attributing sightings to misidentified wildlife. Setting the stage, the Snowy Peaks. The Snowy Peaks, a confluence of jagged ridges, icy crevasses, and towering summits, serve as the ultimate theater for our mythic confrontation. These peaks are more than mere backdrops. They are active participants, their extreme conditions shaping the very essence of survival. How does a Gorgon, rooted in the Mediterranean basin, find herself amidst such frozen desolation? Scholars might speculate about ancient trade routes stretching from Greece to the Indus Valley, or perhaps divine intervention, a banishment or a quest imposed by the gods. In this narrative, we'll consider a metaphysical bridge, a liminal space where mythologies overlap, a concept that resonates with the study of comparative mythology and Jungian archetypes. The environmental parameters are crucial. Temperatures plummet below -30 degrees Celsius, with wind speeds exceeding 150 kilometers per hour. Hypoxia is a constant threat at altitudes above 5,500 meters. Yet, both the Gorgon and the Yeti are creatures that transcend ordinary biological limitations, their mythic forms adapted to survive where humans cannot. Strengths and weaknesses. The Gorgon's abilities. The Gorgon's petrifying gaze functions on principles that challenge our understanding of optics and metaphysics. Beyond her gaze, the Gorgon possesses other formidable attributes. The serpents in her hair are capable of delivering venom potent enough to induce paralysis or death. Her blood holds both deadly poison and miraculous healing properties, depending on which side it was taken from, a dichotomy symbolizing life and death. Her reliance on eye contact presents a tactical vulnerability. Creatures or opponents aware of her abilities might employ mirrored surfaces or avoid direct visual engagement, as Perseus did using his polished shield, a testament to strategy overcoming raw power. The Yeti's prowess. The Yeti's strengths lie primarily in its physicality and adaptation to its environment. Possessing muscle fibers optimized for both strength and endurance, the Yeti can navigate the steep, icy terrain effortlessly. Its fur provides exceptional insulation, possibly featuring a hollow core structure similar to polar bears, minimizing heat loss. The Yeti's sensory capabilities are also likely heightened. Acute hearing and olfactory senses compensate for any visual limitations in blizzard conditions. Its stealth is legendary. Despite its size, it can move silently, a skill perhaps derived from evolutionary pressures to avoid avalanches or predators. Yet, the Yeti lacks supernatural abilities. This absence of magical defenses could be a critical disadvantage when confronting entities like the Gorgon. The fateful encounter. As the Gorgon traverses the treacherous paths, her presence causes a dissonance in the natural order. The serpents upon her head hiss against the biting cold, their tongues flickering to taste the frigid air. She is an intruder in this realm. Meanwhile, the Yeti senses a disturbance within its territory. Footprints too small for a bear, yet too deliberate for mere wildlife, alarm this sentinel of the peaks. The mountains have rhythms, and the Yeti is attuned to every subtle shift. Their paths converge in a plateau bordered by sheer cliffs, a place where escape is limited, and confrontation becomes inevitable. The Gorgon pauses, her eyes scanning the horizon. The Yeti emerges from the veil of snow, a towering silhouette against the stormy backdrop. For a moment, time seems to suspend, a stillness before the storm. Each recognizes the other as an apex entity, and the primal instincts of survival and dominance surge to the forefront. The battle commences. The Yeti initiates the encounter with a thunderous roar, a vocalization that triggers minor snow shifts, a display of both intimidation and territorial claim. It charges forward with a velocity belying its massive frame. The Gorgon, agile despite the hostile environment, evades the initial onslaught. She positions herself where the Yeti's size becomes a hindrance. The serpents strike, but the thick fur and subcutaneous fat layer absorb or deflect these attacks. Claws meet bronze scales as the Yeti attempts to grapple with the Gorgon. The impact sends shockwaves through the ground. The Gorgon counters with swift slashes of her own, her bronze talons scraping against the Yeti's forearms. Snow and ice are weaponized. The Yeti hurls chunks of ice, leveraging its superior strength, while the Gorgon uses her intellect, causing the Yeti to misstep near concealed crevasses. The environmental hazards become extensions of their combat strategies. As the battle progresses, both show signs of strain. The Gorgon's scales bear the marks of blunt trauma, while the Yeti's endurance begins to wane, a testament to the high metabolic cost of exertion in low oxygen conditions. The turning point. Realizing that conventional tactics yield no decisive advantage, the Gorgon opts to employ her most potent weapon, her gaze. She maneuvers to face the Yeti directly, attempting to lock eyes. The Yeti, perhaps instinctively aware of the danger or simply focused on the physical fight, averts its gaze, relying on peripheral vision and other senses. It thrashes wildly, its massive arms sweeping through the space. In a critical miscalculation, the Yeti momentarily loses balance. Reflexively, it glances toward the Gorgon to reassess its position. This brief eye contact is all the Gorgon requires. A palpable shift occurs, a metaphysical energy exchange that transcends the physical confrontation. The Yeti's expression shifts from rage to confusion, and then to a vacant stare as the petrification process initiates. The climactic victory. Starting from the point of eye contact, a wave of calcification spreads across the Yeti's body. Fur stiffens, limbs freeze mid-motion, and the vibrant glow of life fades from its eyes. The biochemical processes cease. Silence envelops the landscape, the only sound the whisper of the wind. Where once stood a creature of legend now exists an eternal statue, a monument to the encounter. The Gorgon gazes upon her fallen adversary, perhaps experiencing a fleeting moment of reflection. In victory, she remains isolated, a paradoxical existence where triumph leads not to glory but to further solitude. Analyzing the outcome. This confrontation underscores the theme of supernatural power versus brute force. The Gorgon's victory illustrates how abilities that manipulate fundamental aspects of reality can overpower mightiest of physical beings. The Gorgon's gaze can be seen as a metaphor for the divine or the inescapable nature of destiny, a common motif in Greek tragedies. The Yeti's defeat shows the limitations of strength faced with forces beyond the natural world. In comparative mythology, this battle symbolizes the intersection of different cultural narratives. The Greek emphasis on intellect overcoming strength, and the Yeti as nature's indomitable force subdued by a greater supernatural entity. This outcome encourages discourse on the universality of certain archetypes across cultures. An invitation to contemplate further legendary encounters. What other legendary encounters await exploration? How might other cultural titans fare against one another? The realms of myth offer infinite possibilities for such thought experiments. Each encounter provides a canvas for intellectual and creative exploration. We invite viewers and scholars to ponder these possibilities. Share your insights, propose your mythical matchups. Join us in continuing the discourse on the rich tapestry of world mythology.